welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up my pre-drawn 2026 bullet journal planner. This planner will be available on my Etsy shop starting October 1st, 2025, so as soon as the listing is live, I'll be adding that link to the description below, so be sure to check out that link if this is something you're interested in for yourself, for your own planning next year, or maybe as a unique and fun Christmas present for your loved ones. I also created a separate video showing a full flip through of all 200 pages of this planner. If you're looking for a flip through, I've linked that video in the description below. In this video, I'll just share with you briefly how to use it and how to set up a bullet journal. So let's get right into it.
The first thing you'll need to get started with journaling is of course a journal. If you don't have a pre-made one like this, try to find one with very thick paper so that your pens won't bleed through the page. For the example in this video, I'm going to be using my bullet journal and I'm going to be using the November setup. I'm grabbing this metal clip and I'm just pinning down the pages here. This journal lies open pretty well, but not perfectly, so you might need to help a little bit with some clips on the side, and having some weighted clips can be quite helpful. The first thing you're going to want to do is pick out the color scheme that you're going to be using for your monthly setup. So I'm starting with some neutrals here. I highly recommend these Crayola Colors of the World markers. These are great neutrals. I also have these Ohuhu brush pens, and then my all-time favorites are these Crayola Super Tips, super budget friendly, so I highly recommend those. Then we're going to color in the cover page, and a pro tip, of course you can use whatever color scheme you want, but my pro tip would be to limit yourself to a handful of colors each month, like for example a couple neutrals and a couple colors like I have here. The less colors you use, the more cohesive and kind of polished your theme is going to look. Maybe not as fun and exciting, so if super colorful is your vibe, absolutely go for that. It's your bullet journal. But if you want a kind of more aesthetic or polished or kind of professional look, I would recommend limiting your number of colors. Next, I'm going to fill in my goals for the month. I'm just using a very normal, just an office pen here, and I'm just writing in a few things that I want to work on this month. If you're using your own notebook, try to look for at least 120 GSM paper. That's grams per square meter. The higher the number, the thicker the paper. So the paper in this notebook is 150 GSM, and as you can see, there's absolutely no bleeding of any color through the paper. Now let's move on to setting up our calendar spread. I like to color in this top bar. Again, make sure you use a color that matches your theme to make it look as polished as possible. Color in this top bar here, and then of course you can color in any doodles that you have in the background of the calendar spread. Another pro tip I have here is to use a very light colored marker and draw a checkered or hatched pattern in the background of your journal. You can use this in the calendar spread, you can use it in the weekly spreads later. This is such a good way to kind of complete and tie together the aesthetic of your journal, kind of fill in that blank space and make it look more polished. Once you're happy with the aesthetic, you can go ahead and fill in your calendar. This calendar is a place for you to write down everything coming up in the month so that as you create your weekly spreads, you'll have items populated in here already to be transferred to the weekly spreads. Moving on now to the trackers page. This is the page that I get the most questions about by far, so let's take some time and let me show you carefully exactly how to use both the habits and the moods tracker spread. I like to start by coloring it in, so I like to color in this top bar. I'll do that for each habit, and then I also like to color in the doodles, again using the colors that match the theme of my monthly setup. Now let's set up the habits themselves. So we're going to grab a pen and just write down 4 different things that you want to work on in the month. It can be absolutely anything. Here I've got exercise, I've got journal, I've got eat healthy, and I've got floss. But it can be absolutely whatever you want to focus on that month. Then each day that you do the habit, you color it in. So let's say on the first day of the month you exercised, you journaled, you didn't eat healthy, but you did floss. Then on the second day you didn't exercise, you journaled, you ate healthy, and you flossed. And you carry on every single day of the month and you color it all in, and by the end of the month you have this nice visual representation of how well you did on the habits that you wanted to work on. For the mood tracker, let's set this up by coloring in each box. If 4 is not enough for you, you can always add more boxes down below if you want more than 4 moods, but I've provided 4 in this bullet journal and 4 works pretty well for me normally. So we're going to color them in each in a different color. Again, use those same colors that you chose earlier for your monthly theme to make things look super tied together. Then we're going to assign a different theme for each color. So I've got happy, sad, anxious, and calm. But again, you can add more boxes if you need more moods. Then on the first day of the month, let's say you felt happy, you would color in the doodle with the number 1 next to it in the happy color. On the second day, maybe you felt sad, you would color in that doodle in the color you assigned to sad, and so on. And you would do this every day as well. So by the end of the month on this page, you'll have a visual representation of your moods all throughout the month. After the trackers, we have all these weekly spreads, 1 page for every week. In this journal, everything's set up for you ahead of time, but if you're creating your own journal, you would create these 1 week at a time, and you could populate it using what you wrote down in the calendar earlier in the month. So let's do a little flip through and just recap what we did. We first colored in the cover page, set our goals for the month, colored in our calendar, and wrote down key events we have coming up. We set up our trackers and start using them for the first couple days of the month, and then we get into the weekly spreads after that.
That's it for today's video. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Please leave any questions in the comments below and I'll be sure to respond over there. If you haven't already, of course, be sure to hit that like and subscribe below, and I will speak to you guys next time. Bye, friends!